I want you to know how honored I am to have the support of an icon here in Atlanta, former Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney. Would you come up, Cynthia, do? I love this woman.
Welcome, Cynthia.
Cynthia, can you join me right here?
Sure. I have a few words from Mike Ruppert, if I may read them.
Please.
Just
Tell people who Mike is, too.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for supporting architects and engineers for 911 Truth, and We Are Change Atlanta. I love We Are Change, and I certainly love truth, and we need a whole lot of it when it comes to 911. The world, it's not just that the people of the United States deserve the truth, but the people of the world have been lied to. And we have visited little 911s on every other country that is underneath the bombs and the drones and the missile attacks that have been visited by both George Bush and President Obama. Now, I long for the day when we have a president of the United States who is not a war criminal.
Wow.
I reached out to a friend who had visited. His name was Mike Ruppert. And Mike Ruppert was a former Los Angeles Police Department cop who had spilled the beans because he had been approached to become a part of the distribution of crack cocaine throughout the United States in black communities, and he said no. And so Mike Ruppert then came to me and told me what he knew of, what he suspected about who the perpetrators were on September 11th. And so that series of questions, if you've seen American Blackout, where I asked Donald Rumsfeld about the war games that were going on, that whole series of questions was made possible because of two people, a journalist, a real journalist by the name of Kelly O'Meara, who had written several pieces in the Washington Times back when the Washington Times was, better, and Mike Ruppert. So Mike Ruppert has some words, and I'd just like to, you can't talk about 911 Truth without calling the name of Mike Ruppert, who has suffered greatly because he dared to tell the truth about what the United States government was capable of doing. He says, the mass murder committed by the United States government on September 11th was an event so horrific and violent to the human soul that the outpouring of emotion that day around the world was strong enough to alter the Earth's magnetic field. NASA satellite sensors detected it. The veils of the temple were torn and a Rubicon was crossed that had led us to exactly the place I feared in 2004. It was a point of no return that being unchallenged with sufficient will allowed a perfect, soulless criminality free rein to ruthlessly pursue the creation of a living hell on earth and its own death. That death wish was encoded like fear into the DNA of the infinite growth paradigm when it was born more than 6,000 years ago. As we look back at 911 with grief in our hearts that we carry, we should not be discouraged because in truth, our victory is at hand. 911 will be more than balanced when the entire system and consciousness that created it and too many other horrors in humankind's history dies and is banished from our Mother Earth and human experience forever. I am proud to have fought the good fight and shared the field with Cynthia McKinney, Michelle Chasudowski, Daniel Hopsiker, and Paul Thompson. Be of good cheer, my friends. Our time has come. That is a very good message for us tonight. Our time has come, and I thank you all for being here. I thank Richard for his leadership. I am also in a PhD program, and I've been trying to figure out, I have a desire to write on certain topics, and I can't write on everything. So I've kind of narrowed it down that this is what I want to write about. I want to write about when governments lie, and when governments kill and our leaders lie, then the people become the leaders that the government needs to have. And so if we look at the murder of John Kennedy, the murder of Bobby Kennedy, the murder of Malcolm, the murder of Martin, all of them are enshrouded in lies, just like 911 is enshrouded in lies. And so every one of them has a community of people who have become leaders in their own right, searching for the truth. And thank you, Richard, for coming to Atlanta. I always fuss at the progressive community or the truth community because Atlanta, they don't come to the South. And Atlanta oftentimes is left out. But thank goodness they didn't leave us out tonight, and I'm happy to be here and happy to be here with Richard. Thank you.
Thank you.